boom, 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 boom. 20 bucks. 20 bucks. You're on the line for 20 bucks. They keep on playing, but nobody's playing. No bands, some nickels and some dimes. Boom, 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 boom. Hi guys, it's Jabor from Montreal, and I'm Maggie, Mrs. Calabash. It's a bit of a dank day, as we say in England, so the kitchen's nice and warm. So come into the kitchen and we're going to make a mulligatawny soup. Now, this is a nice, I'm doing a vegetarian version of mulligatawny soup, but when I was growing up, we always used a lamb shank. We'd cooked a lamb shank and then use the stock and actually put the lamb in with the mulligatawny soup. This is a slightly different version. You can use either vegetable stock or chicken stock. I'm using some chicken stock today, so I'm not totally vegetarian on it. And to eat with that, we're going to make some chapatis, and these are Indian flatbreads. Get my teeth in, I'm not saying things right. So come over to the stove with me, we'll get the soup started, and then we'll talk about the chapatis. So come over with me, and over here you can see I've got everything. Whoops, let's lift that off. And in here I've already cooked the onions and the carrots because I want them to be nice and soft. And the diced carrots, and that is, can you see the size of the carrot that I wanted to use? Now, you've heard me before say this, we're making soup, so the more sliced exposed surfaces that you've got, the more flavour is going to come out. And so we've got a whole list of ingredients which I've ticked off. And so in here we've got minced garlic and grated ginger. I'm going to put that in now because I want to add that at this stage. Let's just turn the heat up a little bit. And I'm going to cook that until the spices, you can tell that they're fragrant when they're cooked. And the ginger gives that nice spice to it, a bit of a bite. And of course, it's so good for the digestion. There we are. So we've got that. Now I've added the garlic because I want to add that, and I wanted it to cook just for a few minutes. We've got sliced apple, diced apple. Now, if you cook the apple, prepare the apple beforehand, put it in, I put it in some water with a little lemon juice and cover it, and that stops the oxidation. But apple, these are diced tomatoes. So we want those to cook. The smell is lovely. You can smell it. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, the spices. We've got a tablespoon of Mrs. Calabash curry powder. The recipe, we will put it up, but the recipe is online at Mrs. Calabash Cooks on Facebook. Cumin, a little paprika, cardamom, turmeric, which gives it the nice yellow colour. We've got cardamom, cumin and dried thyme. I'm going to add these. Again, I want to cook these until they're fragrant, and that means that all the volatile oils have been released. If you don't cook the spices, they can taste a little bit raw. Let's just pull this up. Now, lentils plays a big part of a mulligatawny soup, and I'm using canned lentils today, but by all means just put some red lentils in and cook them. My father was out in India for a long time, served for a long time in India, and he used to say about eating curries, and he said you ate a curry so that you would actually cool down. I don't know how true this is, but that's what he said, and he spent quite a long time out in India. This is just to add a little bit of sweetness. This is mango chutney. Again, my recipe for mango chutney, Mrs. Calabash recipe for mango chutney, is on Facebook. Mrs. Calabash Cooks on Facebook. So I will get Derek to put the recipe up for you. There's not a lot there, but it adds a little sweetness. I remember putting a few raisins in, raisins or sultanas, to give it that sweetness when I was growing up. Now, I'm using vegetable stock today. Sorry, I'm using chicken stock, not vegetable today. I'm not going to put it all in because I want to see just how it cooks. We can add a little more, and when I cooked it for a little while, I'm going to add some coconut milk, and the coconut milk just adds that nice softness. So we're going to cover this over like that. Put the top back on. There we are. I'm just going to have a look in the fridge because I chopped up some green onions to go over this, and I forgot to get them out, so bear with me. Let's see if I can find them. You never know. It's my fridge. I think things grow. Let's have a look. Ah, there they are, the green onions. Now, traditionally, you can have cashew nuts to eat with this, onions, cilantro, but today I had some green onions in the garden, so I decided that we'd use the green onions. Now I'm going to let that cook. I'm going to go back in a few minutes just to check that it's not overcooking and cooking too fast, but we're going to make the chapatis. Now this is an Indian flatbread. Again, I get my recipe for this from Mahir Jeffries. I swear by her Indian cooking books. And this is the dough that I made previous. So I've had that sitting in the fridge overnight. So I'm just going to let it come up to room temperature. And this is the flour. I don't have chapati flour. I'm just using the whole wheat flour. I'm not buying anything in specially. And this is just some for dusting. And there's nothing else to go in there, just half a cup of water. And we just mix. Let's see if I should have used a glass bowl so you can see what's happening. But look, we just mix it all together. Like that. Clear the spatula. And it all just binds together. Pull it together with the fingers. Now my hair Jeffrey suggests that you actually knead it for 10 minutes or 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. Now I don't do this. I must confess I'm a little bit lazy. I'm probably not going to knead it quite as much today as normal, but the reason why you knead it is to get all the gluten working, and it makes a much lighter chapati. When I was having Kate, my youngest daughter, in England many years ago, I won't embarrass her by saying how many years ago, but we had a large Indian population, and unfortunately I was getting a bit, in those days they regarded me as being extremely old for having a child, and things didn't go according to plan, so I spent nearly 9 months in hospital in Burnley, and we had, as I say, a big Indian population, and the Indian ladies, the husbands used to come in at night with chapatis, and they'd have all sorts of fillings in them, and oh, the smell was absolutely gorgeous. And I was there eating hospital food, and my stomach was lurching. I would have loved to try some of their chapatis, but there we are. Just look, I like to use my fingers like that. I just washed my hands before the show started, so I'm going to put that to rest. I'll not waste anything. I'll put that. Now, if you're going to, you can leave it to rest for about half an hour, or I'll leave that to rest for overnight, and we'll have it tomorrow. Now, again, we don't want too much flour. We're going to just have to knead this for a few minutes, because just to get all the gluten working again. So you see, it makes a good dough, and we're going to divide this in between 6. So let's just let that sit there for a few minutes. We're going back to the stove now to look at the soup. So I'm just going to rinse my hands, so back over we go. Ooh, it's smelling really, really good. I need to take that off. Where's my stirrer? Let's turn this down a little bit, like that. Now, I need, oh, excuse me, an itchy nose. I'll just wash my hands again. Now, this is beautiful, but we need to emulsify half. So I'm not going to take half out and put it in a blender. I'm going to do it with an immersion blender and just blend a little bit. And so I've got some blended and some with the whole vegetables. Let me just wash my hands. So I've got the immersion blender here, and I've got a little more stock and the the coconut milk to put in. So it's going to make a noise, so bear with me. I don't know how we manage without these. I really don't. There we are. Let's just put that to one side. We might need to use it again. So that's thickened up quite a lot. So a drop more chicken stock, and I've got the coconut milk. Now you'll notice I've not added any seasoning. Oh, doesn't that look good? Wow. Now this is a really substantial soup, so on a damp day, it really, my ex-mother-in-law used to say it sticks to the ribs. She was a fantastic lady. I don't think we ever had a day of argument till the day she died. I loved her dearly, but one of her favourite sayings was it sticks to the ribs. Let's just taste this. A little salt and pepper, not a lot. In fact, I might add more pepper than salt. It needs to cook for a little bit longer, but it will be cooked by the time we finish with the chapatis. That is really good. And by using the canned lentils, you still get some of the texture of the lentils. They've not just disappeared into the soup. When you use the canned lentils, rinse them and drain them well. That's the secret. So let's move that over to there. There we are. And let that cook. I'm going to turn this on low to start getting warm. Now this is a pan that I just use for crepes and pancakes. I got it when I lived in Quebec, and I never use anything else. A cast iron skillet is very good for this, but you need something that's heavy. Now we're not putting any oil in there. It's going to be straight onto the pan. So let's just let that get warm. I don't want it to get too hot and burn. So let's go back over to the table. Back to this. Now this is the fiddly bit, and we're going to divide that into 6. I realised I haven't got a knife down. There we are. So this makes 6. Try and get them, not like me, try and get them sort of an even size. 2, 3. Now, obviously that poor little thing can't be divided into 2. So let's take a bit off each one. Actually, I'm not doing it here, but you can see I don't have much eye for sizing, and I weigh them. I must confess, I just put it on my weighing scale, and then I weigh them, and I know that they're roughly the same size. So we've got 2, 4, 6 little balls. We'll work 2 of them to begin with. So just need the balls like that. Roll them in your hands. And I've just looked on. I'll have to, before Derek puts the recipe up, I can see a mistake on it, because you just cook them for 12 to 15 minutes on, 12 to 15 seconds on either side, and one I've put 15 minutes. So that is an absolute no-no. So I've got 2 like that. These I'm going to cover either with a cloth or with paper, and we need to roll these out to about 5 inches. So this is the tiresome bit as far as I'm concerned, because it takes quite a lot of pressure to roll them out. So as you're rolling out, I've got a very heavy rolling pin, as you can see, and press down. You don't want to stretch the dough, but you want it to go out. If you just sort of go backwards and forwards, you're going to stretch the dough and it's going to shrink back again. So what I like to do actually is I roll all 6 out at the same time, cover them over, and then they're ready. I know in Mahir Jeffrey's book, she said, oh, roll them out whilst you're cooking the other one. Well, I don't take my eyes off it for that length of time. And I find that this is the easier way to do it. And there's no frying, there's no oil. So let's have a look. Not quite. Look, just a little bit more. They're supposed to be quite thin, but apparently in India, sometimes you can get quite thick ones, not quite so delicate. And these are eaten as we're going to eat them today, with soup, where you can mop up the soup with them. And I tried this recipe out the other day, and I had some very, very thick soup. And they were puffed up, and Derek it was almost like a stew, and Derek actually put it in the pocket, a bit like a pita bread. And they fill them with various fillings in India, and they're eaten with every meal. Well, one of the forms of flatbread. They have various forms of flatbread. I love Indian food, as you've probably noticed. I've always used a lot of spices and made chutneys. And I went to a psychic fair. Kate's dad had just died, and I do believe that the spirit leaves and go on to somewhere another place, and I wanted to make sure that he was there. And as I was going out the house, I had an image, a chai chutney, because I was manufacturing chutneys at the time, and it's an apple chutney. So I dashed back in and wrote down the recipe before I went. And I went to see somebody, and we became very, very good friends. In fact, I'm still friendly with his wife after 20 odd years. And there we are, you see. And Gary said, what's this with chai chutney? I said, oh my goodness, I have just literally made it up. And he was going on, and he said, you've always worked with spices. And he said, I think you were a buccaneer in the spice run. And it's funny because I don't know much about I was adopted, and I don't know much about my family, but my adopted dad told me 2 things. He said, A, you're Saxon, and if by looking at the ancestry, if the person that my birth mother said was my father, yes, he came over, he was one of the Saxons that came over. And he said, your family were pirates. So, who knows? They're probably one of those people that lit the fires to draw the other boats in, the wreckers. So, let's go over here. I can smell, I want to turn that down a bit. This is almost there. I can feel it. And I've got some damp paper here. So, just to clean it off in between each. There we are. Now, my hairdresser said, slap it between the hands like that, so that any excess flour, and slap it down on the sheet or your skillet. And we want to count about 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
You're already there.
7. All right, I'm there. Turn it over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Turn it over. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, this was the bit that I couldn't understand. Take it over to the microwave. Put it in the microwave, like that. I've got a little piece of paper in there. And we just microwave it for 30 seconds. So let's do 30. And let's go back and start the other one. Slap it. Oh, we can just take off any excess flour, you see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's get back to it. Would help if the microwave was there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Turn that off. Put it on for 30. Whoops. Put it on for 30. And look how they've risen. Can you see? They make a pocket. Now, I've got it in the basket because I like to put a piece of a serviette in there, put the cloth over it, and it keeps warm. The soup, let's just look at it, should be ready. Just want to give it a stir to make sure. Oh dear, it's ready. Right, back, boom, 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 boom. This is the bit that I couldn't believe, that, look, it's all nicely risen. And that's the bit that I couldn't believe that happened when you put it in the microwave. So now the soup is ready. Oh, there we are. Boom, 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 boom. Hi, Maggie, I'm still here. I'd like to thank the people at Cricklewood Farm for supporting us, cold pressed sunflower oil. So have a great weekend, stay safe, stay well. Bye.